Hello and welcome to Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. President Bola Tinubu has expressed optimism about the prospects of increased investments from Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, SPDC, emphasizing Nigeria's long-term relationship with the company, which discovered the first commercial oil field at Olebiri in the Niger Delta in 1956. Receiving the management of the Shell Group, led by its Global Integrated Gas Upstream Director, Ms. Zoe Yujnovic, the president said his administration will continue to ensure the security and viability of existing new investments in the country. In a statement by the presidential advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, the president pointed out that Nigeria will continue to support and encourage the company on this path. President Tinubu said there is no doubt that there is a significant focus on investments in and around the continent and that he is spearheading Nigeria's global march for new investments at home. The president said his administration is focused on resolving all investment-related issues to ensure there is no bottleneck that is too difficult for the country to remove in its determined march towards making Nigeria the African haven for large-scale investment in all key sectors. On behalf of the Shell Group, Ms. Yujnovic expressed Shell's commitment to maintain its legacy of investments in Nigeria, particularly as the company refocuses its investment to key into new and existing opportunities in the deep water and gas sector. She outlined the company's dedication to the development of the gas value chain in the country, including a substantial commitment of $1 billion over the next 5 to 10 years, aimed at unlocking gas resources for domestic use and the Nigeria liquefied natural gas and LNG project. Ms. Yujnovic announced an imminent $5 billion investment opportunity in the Bonga North project off the shores of Nigeria, located in the deep waters. Now, to achieve the objectives of reforms in the security of the West African sub-region, parliamentarians must come together with a uniform legislation that will address the perennial problem. This was the thrust of stakeholders at the opening of a two-day international roundtable on parliamentary security sector governance in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
In the olden days, insecurity has no place in West Africa, Nigeria in particular. There is, however, new emerging trends in the security situation. This meeting, among other things, will discuss issues of security sector reforms with a view to securing Africa, considering the indispensable role of parliamentarians.
We must have it at the back of our minds that the quest for peace and security in every human society is ordinarily centered on perception that constitutes security.
Our legislative agenda seeks to improve accountability in the security sector, such that money budgeted for our security agencies are judiciously used.
They believe that the ugly trend requires a comprehensive approach and effective legislation to overcome it.
The laws and policies we shape must not only address the immediate threats, but also lay the foundation for sustainable security sector governance and reform.
We of course need to understand the overall situation better to be able to assess where we can contribute to improve the situation through legislative means.
With the theme, the role of Parliament in security sector and governance in West Africa, it is expected that fruitful solutions will be recommended to address insecurity in the region. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
The Minister of State for Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, says the Tinubu administration is working to move beyond mere conversation to equipping the Nigeria police force with gender-responsive framework in its operational structures and command mechanism. Francis Form reports that the minister gave the assurance at the conference of senior female police officers in Abuja.
Statistics from the Nigeria Police Force indicates that women constitute only 9% of the workforce, and seated in this hall are the senior female officers of the force who converged on Abuja for the 2023 conference. The conference is a platform to collectively reflect on the challenges and opportunities before the women in the task of law enforcement.
This involves not only eradicating discriminatory practice, but also actively promoting policies that empower women to rise through the ranks and take leadership positions and contribute meaningfully to the strategic decision that shapes.
I have no doubt that with this reform, police women and men will have equal access to roles, opportunities, and rewards as long as they merit it.
AIG Aishatu Baju Abubakar is the most senior female officer in the force. AIG Abubakar believes there is need to rub minds to be able to meet up with the police responsibility.
The Nigerian police is positioning itself to be more gender responsive in its approach, both externally in its interaction with the society, with the community, and also within the police force. So we are going to see a lot of transformation.
Her encounter with the police during her service year made her to fall in love with the policing job. Francis from NTA News.
Now, the Joint Committees of the National Assembly on ICT and Cybersecurity has thrown its weight on the Nigeria Data Protection Commission to effectively execute the provisions of the Nigeria Data Protection, warning data collectors, protectors, regulatory and revenue-generating agencies not to compromise Nigeria's data or else face stringent sanctions. This was affirmed as the capacity-building workshop of members of the ICT and Cybersecurity Committees of the National Assembly. Olajide Bello reports that the capacity-building workshop is the initiative of the Nigeria Data Protection Commission.
Of the Ninth Assembly is the speedy attention it gave the passage of the Nigeria Data Protection Act, which was eventually signed into law by President Bola Tinubu in July 2023. Since the signing, the Commission has been in the vanguard of sensitization, implementation and ensuring compliance of the Act, with a view to ensuring data privacy protection of Nigerians. This time, it's the turn of the lawmakers oversighting ICT and cybersecurity to refresh, enlighten and chart a new course for data privacy protection to be fully entrenched in Nigeria.
We got a circular for all MDs to comply. And within 2 months of that circular, the level of compliance increased to 9%. We are currently working on the evaluation of level of compliance for 2023, which we are going to release.
This data you are collecting from the citizen, how secure, how protected are they?
Now that we have this commission in place, the very next step for us is to put all the weight of the law behind the commission.
The take-home is for more enlightenment by the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, for more awareness to be created for data privacy protection and the gains for Nigeria and Nigerians. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Communication experts have been encouraged to develop the right attitude and a flair for writing books. This is to bridge the gap in information and communication prevalent in the society. This message resonated as the unveiling ceremony of an 8-page book titled Introduction to Strategic Communication, written by Suleiman Yao Sule. Dennis Temple reports.
Amidst the ambience of anticipation and excitement, esteemed guests and communication enthusiasts gathered here to witness the unveiling of the book titled Introduction to Strategic Communication, authored by an unassuming public affairs analyst and a communication expert, Suleiman Sule. The book promises to be a guiding light in the realm of effective communication strategies. The book reviewer, Malam Garba Shehu, emphasizes how strategic communication addresses contemporary challenges, offering practical insights and frameworks for individuals and organizations navigating the complexities of modern communication.
It is an in-depth work. It's a very wide, the latitude is massive.
Be very useful to the upcoming and practicing journalists and public relations practitioners.
The author of the book, Suleiman Sule, shared the inspiration behind the book and its relevance in today's dynamic communication landscape.
Focus more on the kind of communication aspect used, especially in the last election, the 2023 general election. So we look at some of these coinage and see how strategic they were towards winning or losing elections.
Many are eager to explore the book's content and apply its principles to enhance their own communication strategies. In Abuja, Dennis Temple, NTA.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has extended a call for support to the Nigerian Union of Journalists as the government prepares to unveil a groundbreaking charter on Citizens Code designed to define and uphold the core values that unite Nigerians. In a statement, the Special Advisor to the Minister on Media, Rabiu Ibrahim, stated this in Lagos at the second NUJ milestone recognition of media icons in Nigeria. The charter, the minister reassured, would seek to entrench in all Nigerians a balanced understanding of their rights and responsibilities as citizens of the greatest black nation on earth. He hailed the leadership of the NUJ for nurturing the idea of recognizing the invaluable contributions of the pacesetters and icons of the media profession to the development of the country. The federal government's image maker urged the media professionals to hold governments, politicians and leaders to account, while also being committed to reporting progress and developments, as well as playing their part in enlightening and sensitizing citizens to the potentials and manifest the greatness of Nigeria. The minister was represented on the occasion by the Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Dr. Muhammad Bulama. Media and communication researchers have met in Lagos, recommending that government at all levels and the private sector must begin to fully support academic research to boost national development across the country. Nwabufu Ngoye has the details.
This is the third annual general meeting of the Association of Media and Communication Researchers of Nigeria, and stakeholders are gathered to brainstorm on the theme Communication, Mass Media and Governance in Africa, Trajectories, Expectations.
It is from the research that they conduct, talking to people who address the media, all right, and finding out where those lapses are, and they can then advise the media as to how they can bridge the gap between what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right.
President of the association, Professor Eserune Mojaye, says, unlike developed nations who place premium on research, Nigeria and other developing nations have not taken research and its importance seriously.
How can get good governance in Nigeria, in Africa? How can I get good governance for the people? What are the sport expectations? And what are the realities of ground? Those are the issues we're examining.
It's for media researchers, media scholars to put heads together and find solutions to governance and media issues.
The media is expected to hold government accountable to the people.
The annual general meeting of the Association of Media and Communication Researchers of Nigeria thereafter moved into a technical session to address issues that will enhance the mass media and support research and development. In Lagos, Nwabufu Ngoye, NTA.
The Ministry of Health describes as unacceptable and unsafe the use of rapid test kits to screen blood for transfusion. This was reiterated as the National Blood Donor Day celebration, where outstanding lifesavers were honored in Abuja. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim reports.
Michael is a voluntary blood donor and has donated 76 times.
Well, it feels great to be part of a solution. And in this instance, donating blood to save lives of people who are in need of blood transfusion.
I had the need for an emergency CS, so they were looking for blood everywhere. So I was told after the surgery. So after then, when I got home, I began to think how I could also contribute so that the bank could never run dry.
Every day, accidents happen. Women in labor or persons with pre-existing health condition may require blood transfusion, and voluntary blood donors, oftentimes family members, are the first port of call. These heroes keep the blood banks red and flowing, and that is why the National Blood Service Commission is honoring them.
The objectives of this year's campaign are to
1. Celebrate and thank individuals who donate blood and to encourage those who have not yet donated blood to start donating.
The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare says safe and adequate blood is an integral part of national health care policy.
The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has been at the forefront to improve blood safety and availability in Nigeria.
With the likes of Michael, many lives will be saved and the world will be a better place. Sandwa Khalil, NTA News.
Good governance and dividends of democracy are two critical derivatives of liberal democracy. Without rule of law, these concepts become elusive. This resonated as the workshop convened by the House of Representatives Committee on Political Parties Matters in partnership with Brick Mount Concept Services. Ignatius Umpo reports.
The concept of rule of law seems so simple, but remains the fulcrum of democracy. At this symposium, participants were particular on the place of rule of law in good governance and sustainable development.
So the legal framework represents what? Rule of law, which ensures impartiality in terms of participation in decision-making for good governance.
A program that will focus on post-election development and how political office holders should fulfill their own part of the social contract.
Everybody that have been elected have been sworn in. We need good governance, we need peace to make the country move forward.
Whatever the decision of the majority, we have to accept it like that.
Where the rule of law is not obeyed, you discover that the society will be governed arbitrarily.
Discussants here highlighted corruption, lack of patriotism, and deficient constitutional provisions as major impediments to the rule of law in Nigeria. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Coalition of civil society organizations for democracy has appealed to security agencies in the country to take proactive measures and fish out elements blackmailing the presidency and the judiciary in the outcome of the appellate court judgment for Kano governorship election. The coalition says losing judgments as the judiciary should not serve as an arbiter to blackmail personalities, the court, and foment troubles capable of undermining the peaceful atmosphere in Kano.
The office of the president is a referred office, and we must accord that office a due respect that it deserves. We must stand as a people to resist every form of intimidation, blackmailing against the president and commander-in-chief, as well as the judiciary.
The group alleged that the New Nigeria People's Party has recently been used as a platform to issue threats of attacks on chieftains of APC and disrupting existing peace in the ancient commercial city of Kano. As many states in Nigeria are taking steps to complement the efforts of the Nigeria police and other security agencies in tackling insecurity in their domain, Edo State government has launched a state-of-the-art command and control center with cutting-edge facility designed to revolutionize security operations. Goodluck Enaini in this background report tells us more about the initiative.
It started with a summit that served as a platform to refresh security agencies on collaborative effort to enhancing safety and protection of lives and property of residents. Governor Godwin Obaseki is satisfied with the progress so far in securing Edo. He threw more light on the new security architecture.
Key to our security reform in Edo has been collaboration with the various security agencies.
The Command and Control Center, named after the former IGP Solomon Arase, was then inaugurated.
This is a technological marvel. This is what you have in other places, the Homeland Security, the National Crime Agency in the United Kingdom. Complete fusion center. I wish we can replicate this one across the length and breadth of the country.
With the third season here with us, it is expected that this laudable initiative of the state government will contribute significantly to crime prevention in the state. In Benin, Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
Now standing by as the State Secretariat in Sapele Road is Anwuli Okolo, who will interface with the Edo State Commissioner for Public Security and Safety, Kingsley Wagbali, on how this control room works in crime prevention in the state. You're on, Anwuli.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to Benin. Right now, we are not at the State Secretariat because we had to change the venue to meet up with the Commissioner. He is here to give us more details about the control room. Sir, so what can you tell us about the reason why this control room was launched by the state government? What really pushed the state government to make this happen?
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies for what has happened, but yeah, it's actually a command and control center, not just a control room. And it's a center where you try to harmonize the various agencies of government. It's a center where you can call in with any emergency you have. We actually also launched our short codes yesterday for Edo State. So if you're anywhere in Edo now, you can call 112 or you can call 739, and I can bet you that somebody would pick your call. So the whole idea of the command and control center is such that when you call, when you reach us by chat or reach us by any of the social media, we'll pick, we'll respond, and then our security agencies will be able to act on your concerns or your emergency. As a matter of fact, all the agencies of government in terms of that are known as first responders, whether it's the fire service, federal state fire service, whether it's the police, the DSS, the army, the air force, every agency, even our ESMA, the guys who handle our traffic, they are all on the second floor of the facility. So the whole idea is when your call comes in, they can process it within 60 seconds, and then they respond. So that's the whole idea of the command and control center, ma'am.
With this portfolio of the control room, are you guaranteeing us of enough staff to make sure that this is properly executed?
In terms of staff, I think we have more than enough staff. These are staff that we have trained in the last 2.5 years, both within and outside the Edo State, even outside. Some of them have had to go to some very good schools to handle emotional intelligence, to handle how to manage calls, because the kind of calls you receive for emergencies is way different from the calls you call into a call center. So it's actually not the call center, it's an emergency response center. Different levels of training, different level of response behavior expected. So I can tell you that yes, we have more than enough staff in the place. Maybe your question will be, are we able to respond accordingly? Yes, we are responding accordingly, and the whole idea is that we intend to improve our response time by ensuring that every layer of the city is manned by men. The thing is, it's a process. When you call us, we process your call, and then we activate our men to respond. So we're increasing our response, we call them action party. So we're increasing our response parties across various parts of Edo States.
Would you be able to tell us some of the facilities that we can find in the control room, or are we privy to that information?
Well, I can tell you that what you have is a state-of-the-art, world-class facility, like anywhere you can see anywhere in the world. When I mean world-class, I mean world-class. There's nothing you want to see in a command and control center that you don't have in the Edo State Command and Control Center. I make a boast because I'm part of the system, and I know what we have in other states of Nigeria. Right? Ours is robust, ours is resilient. You to have a facility like that in 3 floors. The ground floor is where you receive the call. The next floor is where they process your call and the various agencies respond. And the top floor is where you take command decisions, right? Because sometimes you take decisions, if there's a fire in the building, we also have cameras.
So you are assuring us of a crime-free Yuletide?
Definitely. What I can assure you is that we have the capacity, to deal with people and all that.
Thank you very much. We've been talking with the Commissioner, and it's back to you in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anwuli, and we hope the Edo State government records huge success by this initiative in crime fighting. We now join Michael in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Lami. Good to see you. Environmentalists and agencies in charge of environmental issues are creating awareness on the need for sustainable plastic value chains through circular economy. They emphasized this at a forum organized by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in Lagos. Larry Bilei has details.
A circular economy direction that significantly minimizes waste and extends life cycle of products is being advocated by environmentalists and other stakeholders. The approach will help eliminate the practice of taking raw materials, processing, using, and discarding them, particularly plastics. Plastics is used basically in every aspect of life, and damaging effects of plastic pollution to the environment are growing. Environmentalists are optimistic that plastic circular economy will reduce pollution and serve as a viable economic venture for the unemployed. For this to be effectively explored, however, there is a need for massive awareness campaigns.
A lot of education is needed. We need to educate our people, especially the consumers.
The initial culture we've had over the centuries to one that encourages us to reduce the waste we generate, to reuse what we have, and then recycle it when we can.
For this pilot scheme for the plastic pollution is to create what we call hub. It's like a mini collection center for the plastic consumptions. So it's an avenue where people that want to key into waste management gather the plastics and take it to the hub center.
Plastic circular economy strategies, action plan implementation, site selection in designated pilot areas mapped out by Lagos State environmental agencies were reviewed and discussed at the Sensitization Forum. In Lagos, Larry Bilei, NTA News.
Guided by the zeal to entrench professionalism in theory and practice, the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, SNB, is stretching its tentacles across the country. And in expediting action towards sanitizing the media business, about 53 practitioners were inducted into the Lagos chapter. In his message to the event, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos, who is the chairman of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, warns media practitioners to be careful of what they broadcast, as their content have huge impact on the society. It is more than 50 years since the idea for the establishment of an umbrella body for broadcast professionals was conceived, and through doggedness and commitment, the network is expanding.
Serve the society.
These more than 53 new inductees will not just add to the number, but are expected to be change agents in an era when fake news and propaganda are becoming the norms. Breaking the chain of falsehood is the task the Director General of the NTA, who was represented, believes is achievable once understanding the ethics of the profession is placed ahead of sensationalism.
I think SNP right now is going to improve the standards and give the criteria before you employ someone. Do not employ someone who just looks good and sounds good.
The chairman of the induction ceremony and CEO of Channels TV, John Momo, who was represented, said practitioners must live above inherent challenges in the industry and fulfill their role as guardians of truth.
Let us embrace this responsibility with dedication and integrity, knowing that through our collective efforts, we shape not only the present, but also the future of our nation.
While the society continues to welcome new members, the pioneers are hoping this will assist in creating a formidable platform to interface and present a common template for the regulation of the industry.
SMB can be an instrument for you to translate even idea into reality. We can combine together to produce features, documentary, and a lot of programs that even make money to your course as a member and even to the organization.
This body, the Society of Nigerian Broadcasters, we now coordinate and then sanitize the industry. And then ours is just to be the ambassadors.
It's the professionals regulating ourselves. And who better to regulate their industry than people who know how it's supposed to be. And because we know how it's supposed to be, the knowledge will be passed from generation to generation.
Earlier, a pre-induction lecture was held where practitioners were reminded of the need to preserve their position as the spoken side of the fourth estate of the realm. That does it from Lagos. The news will continue in Abuja shortly after this break. Please stay.
You're welcome back. 10% Social Intervention Fund has been approved for persons with disabilities to help address the many challenges confronting them in the country. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, reiterated federal government's commitments should shut down public buildings that do not comply with the minimum standards of accessibility for persons with disabilities from January 17th. Gufan Shaji Gwanyi reports.
News conference is part of the 16 days activism to commemorate the 2023 International Day of Persons with Disabilities in Nigeria. The issues emanating from this meeting is that of enforcement of the 5-year ultimatum given to organizations by the federal government to make buildings accessible for persons with disabilities, as well as the approval of 10% social intervention for persons with disabilities.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is poised to give more visibility and inclusion to persons with disability in all policies and programs of government, ensuring that at least 10% of all social protection and social investment programs and interventions are allocated to persons with disability.
What the Vulnerable Fund says is that all persons with disability must be insured with the NHIS.
Disability have been showing so much resilience that have been giving the world something to celebrate.
The Commission is expected to move out in full force to make sure that the provisions of the law are properly enforced.
The enforcement, which is expected to commence on the 17th of January 2024, is also in line with the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act of 2018. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
Unlike a proverbial saying that a tree cannot make a forest, well, in Kano, it is the history of a well that made up what is now called Kasuwa Kurmi, the market that gave birth to all other markets in the commercial city. In this report, Amin Umar captured some historic sites of the oldest market that, however, faces threats despite its potential of attracting visitors.
It is an undeniable fact that Kano is the center of commercial activities that has specialized markets for various merchandise that attracts merchants from various parts of the country and beyond. Kurmi Market is the oldest of all the markets which existed long before the slave trade. History has it that, unlike other cities that make their markets, in Kano, it was the market that made the city. For those who don't know who Kano Man is, a visit to this market tells you much about him. The market is able to sustain the olden day trades with foreign Kano made from cotton by the local weavers as one of the attractions. Musa Ali is one of the many in this market that is improving on the past and connecting with present, as his products are patronized as far as Cameroon.
We thank God as the market existed before even our parents, and we are now taking part in trading in this market.
Despite the historic position of Kurmi Market and its strategic place in attracting tourists, not much has been done to preserve the market, which is why its custodians have so much worry.
The places should be preserved as people come from far places just to see the market.
This well, which was discovered hundreds of years before the market, is one of the landmarks in this market that showcases the traces of history. It, however, faces threat as the traces of history in this market are continuously being erased. In Kano, Amin Umar, NTA News.
Amin Umar is standing by as the historic site of the market to give us additional information on latest developments at the Kasuwa Kurmi market. Hello, Aminu. we seem to have some network issues with that connection with Aminu in Kano, so we will get back to him when the situation improves. Now we move on to our next report. Protection of innovations involved in filmmakers from the scripts to the big screens was the focus of a masterclass at the Zuma Film Festival. Elizabeth Omori reports that it was an eye-opening session for prospective filmmakers on intellectual property rights, royalty collection, and partnership methods.
Film production is the process by which a motion picture is produced. It involves a number of complex stages, beginning with an initial story, idea, or commission. The stages require a variety of technologies and cinematic techniques to make theatrical films.
My educated opinion tells me independence has arrived 10 years too early.
The protection of the final output for economic benefits informed this masterclass.
If it is cooperated and you have a license, and the license from the NCC says this thing we recognize is just for you and your name is on it. So anybody that wants to use it in the world, we have to take your permission.
Let our monetary policy and lending policy recognize it as a tangible asset.
Managing Director, Nigeria Film Corporation, explains that copyright is considered the backbone of filmmaking enterprise and stakeholders must be familiar with legal implications.
Where the matter lies now is for people to seek for activation of what their right is.
WIPO treaty, infringement and contractual agreements are part of issues deliberated upon for clarity to help Nollywood actors reap the benefits of their labor. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Right, we now go back to... All right, Nationwide continues in Sokoto. Do stay tuned.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sokoto. Another international day. Sokoto State Government has awarded roads projects worth over 15 billion naira to boost economy of the state. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports that the multi-million naira projects are to be executed under a new Sokoto initiative.
Roads are basic infrastructure and the primary source of transportation that connects communities and provide access to essential services for socio-economic development of the society. This is the more reason Sokoto State Government, at its Executive Council meeting, presided by Governor Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto, awarded contracts for the construction and rehabilitation of 48 roads in Tudunwada and Ongwarogo at the cost of 8.9 billion naira. Road networks worth 2.1 billion naira in Runjan Sambo and 1.5 kilometer Gandesi Lame Road, comprising 3 culverts at the cost of 244 million naira. 1.7 billion naira has also been set aside for the replacement of all the generator-powered street lights with the solar-powered in additional 39 roads in the state capital. Other contracts are construction of Bodinga Road, Lincoln Meduguri Road, and the Secretariat, Lodge Road, among others. To Governor Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto, the projects are in fulfillment of his campaign promises to the people of the state.
Sokoto is undergoing new transformation.
In the wake of security challenges in the state, the Executive Council has similarly approved the procurement of operational vehicles worth 1.1 billion naira to reinforce the governor's convoy. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Another International Day of Persons with Disabilities has been marked recently in Nigeria. But how far has the nation gone in implementing the provisions of a law that sets to achieve their full integration in society? Zainab Saidu Abdul Nasir takes it from here.
When former President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act in 2019, it was to achieve full integration of persons with disabilities into the society. Part of the provisions of the law includes accessibility to physical structure. For this provision, 5 years was given for structures to be adjusted. 2024 is the final year for the implementation. I am physically challenged. I am a polio survivor. I need to access this venue, but I have just two options: to either allow people to carry me on my wheelchair in an undignified way, or leave the wheelchair and crawl into this venue. Persons with disability in Nigeria are finding it difficult to be integrated because there is no conscious effort to implement the provisions of the Act as it affects accessibility, employment, education, health, the economy, among other sectors.
We need more improvement in terms of capacity building, social inclusion, and infrastructures.
In the law that is said people with disabilities should be given 5%, I can say that one is not implemented so far.
What then is the way out, as the year 2024 is just days away?
The government show its commitment to the United Nations resolution to improve the well-being and quality of these people with disability.
Research shows that issues of persons with disabilities are still seen as charity instead of basic human rights. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdel Nasser, NTA News.
Well, that's our package from Sokoto. The Nationwide will continue in Abuja after the break.
You're welcome back. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted permission to former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Mohammed Bello Aduke SAN to travel to the United Arab Emirates. Aduke secured the court's permission following the plea of the Defense Counsel, Kano Agabi SAN. Agabi had in a motion pleaded with the court to invoke sections 36 and 37 of Nigeria's constitution to grant the request of the defendants. In his ruling, Justice Inyang Idene Eko agreed that Aduke had been attending trial and had never attempted to jump bail, adding that he was persuaded to grant the request. Justice Eko ordered that the former AGF must return to Nigeria before January 11, 2024 for continuation of his trial in the charges against him. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission is prosecuting Aduke alongside an oil mogul, Aliu Abubakar, on a 14-count charge. In the charge, EFCC alleged that Aduke, sometime in August 2013 in Abuja, accepted a cash payment of the dollar equivalent of 300 million naira from Aliu and thereby committed an offense punishable under Section 16, subsection 2, subsection B of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011. Now, Justice Abdullahi Mukailu of the Niger State High Court too has discharged the former governor of Niger State, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, and the state's PDP chairman, Tanko Beji, from the alleged conspiracy and criminal breach of trust involving more than 3.2 billion naira. Mukhtar reports that the third accused person, Umar Mohammed Nasku, was however told to enter his defense irrespective of the offenses.
Of the court followed the prosecution's closure of its case after calling 11 witnesses and the motion for no case submission by the accused persons, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu, the state PDP chairman Tanko Beji, and Umar Mohammed Nasko, a one-time Niger State PDP gubernatorial candidate. In his ruling, Justice Abdullahi Mikailu said he found out that no prima facie case had been made out against the first and second accused persons, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliyu and Tanko Beji, respectively.
The EFCC had been very fair, both in their investigation, in their presentation, and I thank them too in this, the end of this situation. And the judiciary in Niger State had been very strict, because everything had been followed thoroughly, strictly. I do believe that we have hope in the judiciary.
The judge, however, said a prima facie case has been made out against the third accused person, Umar Nasko, in respect of counts 5, 6, and 7 of the charge. The court then adjourned the case to the 15th of January 2024, expecting Umar Muhammad Nasko to enter his defense in respect of the offenses of criminal conspiracy and criminal breach of trust, contrary to sections 47 and 312 of the Penal Code. From the State Judiciary Complex, Mukhtar Wu, NTA News.
To curb perennial issue of revenue losses in the mining sector, stakeholders have proposed formalization of artisanal and small-scale mining in the country. This formed issues of discussion at a policy dialogue organized by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission for Development Partners, including the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Solid Minerals. Ekene Dulwe reports.
70% of mining activities in Nigeria, research shows, are conducted by unregulated artisans and small-scale miners,
Last year,
attributing to the sector's low contribution of 0.6% to the country's GDP. A research project conducted by United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) is using Plateau as a pilot state and has formalized 120 operators in the sector. The projects, implemented by Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, aside from improving revenue generation, the coordinators say will enable operators work in a more dignified manner.
We will continue to monitor them not only in Plateau State, but we will expand the program with the support of the UNDP.
And one of those initiatives recommended in that INFF report is developing a framework for solid mineral development to increase revenues to federal, state and local governments.
The partners are advocating a strong legal framework to revamp the sector.
The commission is going to be a major stakeholder. I've discussed with the chairman to see how we can synergize to bring about sanitation of this sector for the benefits of the Nigerian people.
In Abuja, Ekene Ndulwe, NTA News.
Let's now join Olumide Eguntola for sports updates.
Nigeria's under-17 female national team, the Flamingos, will face Central African Republic in the second round of the FIFA Women's World Cup qualifiers. The two-legged fixture is slated for the 2nd to 11th February 2024. In a related development, the Super Eagles of Nigeria will take part in a three-nation tournament in United Arab Emirates as part of preparations for the 2024 African Cup of Nations. The pre-AFCON tournament is scheduled for January 2024 as the Eagles take on Equatorial Guinea on the 14th of January 2024 in an opening game of the Nations Cup. And in the Nigeria Premier League, Bayelsa United will take on Enugu Rangers in one of the Week 13 games. Abia Warriors will be the guests of Enyimba. Similarly, in the English Premier League, it will be match Week 16 as table toppers Arsenal will be the guest of Aston Villa, while Tottenham Hotspur host Newcastle United, among other matches for the weekend. In another news, about 10,000 civil servants are competing as athletes in the Federal Civil Service Games in Minna, Niger State, with admonition to compete clean and fair.
It is an avenue of creating jobs opportunities for a lot of youth, and not only that, it promotes economic development.
All MDAs are here, they are competing amongst themselves. There's no way there won't be some bonding.
The Federation of Public Service Games is standing tall in terms of producing athletes for national competitions.
In volleyball, Nigeria under-17 female volleyball team suffered another defeat to Egypt, and it just concluded under-17 Girls African Nations Volleyball Championship, but still qualified for the World Championship coming up in 2024.
All of the time we have been hosting here in Nigeria, we never came second. So there is a great achievement.
Study before the match, how to win, the weakness point and the strength point for each player.
Ahmad Zago reports that the Nigerian girls considered the trophy after they lost 1-3 in favor of their Egyptian counterpart at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NTA News.
And that does it on Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. I'm Lami Ali. Have a good weekend.